evening, everybody. Welcome to Craps Chat Season 3, Episode 10. We are here with a star-studded panel. We're looking forward to our show today. Obviously, been a little bit since I've been on your screen, but I am back, and we are ready to kick off this show. This show is going to be heavy on what you guys want to talk about. So make sure you pop in your questions, topics you want to talk about today in the chat. Put a Q in front of it so our producer John can cue those up for us, and we can get the chat popping off. We want to talk about what you guys want to talk about today. So again, put a Q in front of whatever your question is, or if you have a statement that you want us to discuss, put a Q in front of it, even though it's not a question. The grammar police will not be here tonight, so don't worry about it. And we will get to our panel, come out rolls, and we're going to be coming out with our lovely lady, Jen. Jen, what are we coming out on tonight?
Hey everyone. I just came off a terrible Carnival cruise, crap sessions, 7 days I played with like noobs, drunk noobs, and late bets, hands in. It was a terrible time. So hopefully we talk about strategy today and demystify everything.
We can talk some strats. Craig, what are you coming out on tonight?
Oh, what am I coming out on? Sometimes you have to bite the bullet because the only thing closest to you is a bounty table. So this past week on my live stream, I switched over to the bouncy side, and I happened to throw I believe a 26, 22, and 39 roller back to back with a throw that I've been learning from Gargoyle. And it's a very low throw. Like you have to, it's almost like the underhand on the other side that you saw me do last year in February. It's the same concept. You have to get it no more than 1 to 2 inches off the table for it to be effective. Anything high, anything even halfway up the wall on the table, and goodbye. It's popcorn heaven. So if your only choice is a bouncy table closest to you, you got to do what you can to beat the system. You can't beat the system, so you got to do your best to grab a few good hands. And if this is what can do it for me at my local, I'll let you all know in future trips. But that's my come out.
All right, what are we coming out on tonight?
Well, my on-axis challenge is up and running, and I am surprised and glad that people are doing it. So that's basically that in a nutshell.
Awesome. Ryan, Mr. Mark the Point, welcome. What are we coming out on tonight?
Oh, well, yeah. So I've also been cruising lately. So I just got off a cruise, and how along with Jen, you have the ups and the downs. It's definitely a ship, but it's a roller coaster on those crap tables. So one thing I found out, if you find a way to get into profit, secure your bankroll, put it into the safe, that's what I did, and only play with your profits because it can go down real fast if you let it. So secure those profits, put them away. That way you don't lose. Try to get up fast.
There you go. John, what are we coming out on tonight?
Oh boy, coming out tonight on the math guys. I love my math guys. I love the math. I have some good friends that are math guys, but fuck them. There's their first F-bomb of the night. No, seriously. Here is actually, there's a guy that I promoted this week called Delightful Kiss Boy. I'll put his channel in the chat. You have got to watch this guy. He's like, he F-bomb every 3 seconds. He's a math guy. He writes code to he writes code to debunk strategies and call channels out for putting out shitty stuff, which is fantastic. He's a very entertaining guy to watch. However, I think he and all the math guys get the same thing wrong. Law of large numbers is a real thing. The casinos live on the law of large numbers. We play in short terms, and what I mean by that is, if you run a strategy for 1 million straight rolls with a starting bankroll and just kind of run it out, everything goes to zero. You run strategies in slices and sessions, you can win with the same rolls. Right, you can come out ahead with the same rolls by changing how you approach the short term within the long term. And the statistics guys, the math guys, I know they understand it. They just like to do this. So I'm gonna have that guy on and talk to him a little bit, let him cuss me out. It'll be a lot of fun. So preview.
Can't wait for that. You should let me come on too, and I can just sit
Yeah, I
there
love
and
watching
give him
people
some.
cuss you out.
Yep.
That'd be genius, genius. All right. So again, reminder for everybody at home: if you have a question or something you want to talk about, put it in the chat. Put a Q in front of it, and we will certainly go over it. And that would be my come out role. Most of my come out role. The final part of my come out role is simply 2 words. 2 words only. There's only 2 words that you need to know for the remainder of this
What
week.
this is.
That's it. That's it. You ready? 2 words.
I know what they are.
Pro, birds. That's it.
That's it.
Fuck the Chiefs. There's your second F-bomb of the night. But yeah, had to go pick up a nice little Super Bowl edition Saquon jersey. Casino Profits, of course, paid for it. So, nice. Love it. And
Chris, do you
birds.
love that
And,
that the logo is the Chiefs colors? Isn't that great? Like there's no
is.
collusion there at all, right?
Oh no, 100%. And I mean, listen, I don't want to talk about football too much here, but I do want to. I can relate it back. I can relate anything back. We're talking conspiracy theories. Some conspiracy theorists in the craps world, a lot of things like that. But if anybody hasn't seen this Super Bowl logo color conspiracy, you should go check it out. It's very, very interesting how they have been spot on. Numerous times in the past, I think 5 out of the 6 years. It's like the two teams playing the Super Bowl are the exact color logo. So very, very interesting. Anyway, that's enough football talk. But yeah, go Birds. That's all you got to know for the week. And Patty Mahomes will be crying, just like you cry when you lose all your money at the craps table. So let's talk about how not to lose our money at the craps table. Jen, you want to talk about strategies. So tell us a little bit about your cruise and what happened and what went wrong, what didn't go right, because I know not a lot went right.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for the unlimited bankroll. But the issue with the cruise that I always forget is it's really packed, right? They have one table on Carnival. Very few ships have two, except on Royal. And so everyone's jammed in. They've got like $50 in their rail, their stupid rail. It's nothing but like red chips. And you can't get in. So you have to stand for an hour to get in. And when you get in, it's just kind of like a shit show because hands are in, people are calling out late bets, and the dealer has to say like no call bets, and they're like, oh, what does that mean? It's like, put your money down. So what they do is they stick their whole hand in Shiro style, throw a chip while the dice are already in the air, and then there's like a yelling and there's screaming. It's like a terrible experience. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to lean into this, right? This means like lots of short rolls. It's going to be a ton of sevens. And it was like mostly come up sevens. So, playing the 6, 7, 8 was what I leaned toward in the end. But there are two ways you can play the 6, 7, 8. The first way is the TGA way, which is bigger on the don't and very small minimum bets on the 6 and 8. And then you turn off it, you get one hit. I didn't do that. I did Wayland style because I just play whichever 6, 7, 8 is like most recent in my mind. Wayland style, which is equal size bets on the 6, 8, and 7 on the come out working. So I'm getting crushed on like come out 7. So I stop. I try the DC and then it's PSO. It's like it was just a terrible experience. And the funny thing is, even though I had a terrible time, the 6, 7, 8 still kept me close to even. Like the 6 and 8 should hit enough times most of the cruise to keep you even. So I'm just like swimming, but I'm like slowly bleeding away every day. On the final day, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it whale-in style. I'm going to just go lean into the 6, 7, 8 with like equal size bets, and we're going to ladder. I'm going to put a big old bankroll. We're going to ladder. So a bigger bankroll just means losing bigger. That's what it looked like to me. So I lost big. It's not the strategy that's me because at one point I couldn't go past 150 on the 6 and 8 and the DP working like on the come out, right? You get hammered 5 times, you go out for the 6th time, you're an idiot. So I just couldn't catch up, and I realized the math of that. And just with Ed in the audience, it's like, when do we have enough practice that we can say that we're seasoned? Like, when did he feel, when do you guys feel like you're experienced players, you know how to win, what's your go-to? I'm still not there, and I feel like I've logged like 3,000 hours every year on this.
Well, Mr. Season Your Play, how do we know when we are seasoned?
I can't tell you when you're seasoned. That's going to be up to you, but I can say that for the most times where I have made money, it's been about hammering a number that is hitting. Um, and by hammering it, I mean power pressing it. I am not a fan, never will be, of a half press. I don't even like a full press sometimes. I mean, just if you feel it, and gut is part of it. But if you want to play aggressive enough to, within your bankroll to nail it. Now, we've all done it before. Don't say you haven't if you're in the chat, because you have. Who's taken a $500 buy-in and started off with 150, 6 and 8? I have, and it was one of the best sessions I had because I didn't have FOMO. I had confidence when I bet. I was betting with one other person who I knew was a good shooter, and we were the only ones at the table. So it was not even me shooting, but I was like, sometimes you got to say screw it, but then still play smart afterwards. And what happened was it hit once, took it across, build up from there. Whichever ones are hitting, nail them. And if they're not hitting, I pull them back to table minimum. Why? Why spread your money on, like if it's the 5 on the sisters, if only one of the sisters came to play? So that's that, nail what's hitting. And that's, sometimes that's how you can season it.
Hate when only one sister comes and, to play and the other one doesn't. It sucks.
Seriously.
Really does.
One sister.
I mean, they should be sharing, right? I don't know. Anyway, Mr. Ryan, what's your go-to step up to the table? What are we doing?
Oh God. Well, you know what? I'm gonna kind of go off of a little bit of what Jen just said a while ago. I'm gonna build off of her again. So, I'm pretty aggressive when it comes to playing, right? So I like to have a bigger bankroll, or I was a bigger bankroll, but bigger bets and try to hammer it. But whenever you do have very short rolls, you have to find a way to get out the hand. Lately, I've actually on this past cruise I actually went on. I only brought $2,000, and that was between myself, and my wife. We were playing together, knowing that we had a really short bankroll. So I actually had a lot of regression in. So basically, what I was doing was I was going $90 on the 6 and 8, and she was going basically 25, 50. 50 and 25 on the outsides. And my first hit, I'm regressing it. And usually if I'm playing, I'm going straight to 120. But because I knew I had a short bankroll, I didn't have a whole lot of money, and we were splitting between each other, I went straight to regression mode, try to get out the hand. And, she did the same thing. She had $50 in the 5 and 9, it paid 70. She basically collected the quarters and went to 35 each on the 5 and 9. You putting $100 out of her $150 spread out. That's kind of contrary to what I usually do. I'm usually, full press mode to get the black chips. But you have to kind of do two things. Know your bankroll. How much are you willing to lose? It was only a 3-day cruise, but when you're talking about, we have a $300 spread out there, four rolls, and that $2,000 is gone, right? So I went to instant regression mode. Know the table that's going on. So I had a very similar experience that Jen just said was, I went to. I got literally. I was in profit, so I was playing with profit at this point in time. But I went, $330 across, or I guess it was really $300 out, across between myself and my wife, and we got 2 PSOs back to back. I mean, that's $600 just like that, right? When you get whacked like that, you have to figure out what the heck are we going to do next. So I basically just stopped all our bets, right? I went $100 on the don't pass. And I think I went like minimum bets on the inside. I think it was like 44, just to try to, if something happened. And what they do, they hit the point, knock me off $100. Like crap. So I went back out there again, $100. What they do, I just so happened to try to go dark on that one shooter. That one shooter knocked me. Not only did he do they do the 2 PSOs in a row, I went dark on the one guy that actually started shooting the dice. Then I get knocked off on the don't pass. So it's one of those back to back kind of kills you kind of way. So I mean, you have to read the table, but from one shooter, I think John said this so many times. There's no such thing as a hot table, as a cold table, because the next shooter, the very next roll, could change everything. right? So and that's what happened. The two dark plays, and then a hot shooter will mess you up if you try to switch, and then you're getting it all. You're guessing games wrong. It's like trying to guess red and black. You're guessing games all wrong. So.
Yeah, we hate guessing at the tables. John.
Yeah, I actually want to talk to Ryan directly, so everybody else just kind of do one of these. So Ryan, I watched your video today, right? So I had 3 plane rides today. You know how much I love flying? I hate flying. I had 3 freaking plane rides today. So I watched your video. I downloaded it before I went. What you and your wife played. It was actually fun to watch that one, right? And I love the regression. It's basically the drawdown, but it's a 3-stager, which is perfect, right? And the way that you're getting out of the hand. Interesting, because Dusted One asked this in chat: is one hit the way to go? What's the ultimate way to play? You guys made $2,000 doing this little regression.
Yeah.
You could have kept on doing that. It seemed like might have been okay. I mean, like that's it. It's such a boring way to play. Like hit regress, and then you're locked, right? But we forget to stay doing it. Like you get so excited, like, oh, that regression worked, and then you're out of it because you want to go play the hot roll. But like, what got you the $2,000 was actually pretty stout. You know what I mean? And I don't know. To me, like when I watched the video, I got kind of bummed out when you said that you lost the money back because you went away from what you were doing that won. And it's like,
yep,
we all want to be like, I got this. I have the wisdom. I have the intuition. I know what's coming, or I'm hitting what's coming, and we forget that we made all this money ahead of time doing something a little boring and simple. So anyway, I just wanted to not call you out, but address you because I watched it. It was actually a well done video and I enjoyed it, but I got bummed out at the end.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. You get caught up in the moment, right? You feel like you're in profit, and now's the time to try to hammer a casino. And right whenever you think it's going to happen, bam, big red comes out. You still got 120 because you didn't collect anything. You didn't progress, didn't put that money out. So it's definitely it's a game changer whenever the tables turn against you, for sure.
Jen, did you regress, or how did you? What side of the table did you fall on?
Yeah, so once I got into profit, like I said, I'm not sure if many people saw the video. So basically, we brought 2,000 on the table, or 2,000 on the ship. We were up $2,000. So literally by night 2, we're up $2,000. And at that point in time, I stopped all regressions. Right. At that point in time, for my 6 and 8, I went straight to 120 on both of them. I collected a little bit, but I went 120 rather than regressing it down, being basically out the hand and regressing again. And my wife, same thing. From a $50 bet, I had her going straight to 75. So at that point in time, she's only collecting 35 out of the 150. So it just rather than again doing the regression and getting more money out of the hand on the first 2 or 3 rolls. At that point in time, we're gaining less. We're losing more on the two rolls, 3 rolls, and outs. So it's a big difference.
And what about you, Jen? What did you regress at all, or what?
Yeah, I brought enough for like 1,000 shooters. So let me just say that like outright, and it didn't freaking matter. I could have brought 10,000 shooters. It didn't matter. But Dylan, you're right. I regressed. So like I just regressed at the wrong times, right? So sometimes I'd start at 66 inside with a freaking $3,000 bankroll. It's like just too small. I got to be more like Ryan, like go for it, do your 220 or 270 across, and then regress. So what I did instead was I'd do like 110, take one hit, freak out, go to 66 because the shooters are so bad. Or it's not the shooters, the dice are so bad for me right now. Or I would press and get up to like, I don't know, $60 across or whatever. And then like, I should regress again to like 96 across and then start all over again because you want to collect stuff in your rack. But that's like the 20 and 30 roller. So like the one unicorn that you have each night. We had one every night, one. You just weren't on it, or I wasn't on it. I only caught one of those hands. So then you have terrible, terrible FOMO where I made like 300, or after they 7 out, I've got more on the felt than I had in my rack, but I was really going for it, right? It's like that GM spin where you're like 900 is gone from the felt, and you've got only collected 100 because you're going for that $10,000 win. So I just did it to myself, and the problem was too much mix and match, and it was just too much noise. 2 hits and down, I think at the end of the day, when I go back and look at my charts, because you guys know I track every single roll, if I am honest with myself, had I gone 110 inside or 160 across, 2 hits and down like an iron fist, I think I would have been steadily up every night. Even with the PSOs, there was always someone who'd hit like 2 numbers. But the problem is, and you have to get the craps. You have to. Like, you go 160 across and then you don't hit. They're just like, they're doing 11, 2, and 3, and 12. And you're just like, God. Yeah. So if you get everything 2 hits down, you're actually probably going to be okay.
Yeah, sometimes taking those 2 hits is a good idea. Jen, you touched on Bankroll, and I saw Duracell put a question in there. So what's a realistic win goal versus Bankroll? 50%. We're going to kick it around the panel. Down. I'm going to come to you first. What for you is a realistic win goal versus your Bankroll? Are you looking for 50%? Are you looking for less than that? Are you looking for more than that?
No, I'm looking for 50% and 50% to 100%. I want to double my money. It might not be super realistic, but that's a goal that I'm going to be actively shooting for. So I'll be happy. I'll be happy and content. I mean, I'll be happy and content no matter what. But that's really what I want. Is I want a bare minimum of 50%. Up to 100%, and I think that then I'm okay psychologically, and that you have so many different avenues that you can and options that you can pursue at that time. So that's what I think.
Hey, Dylan, is that
Ryan,
per shooter? Is that per session? Is that shooter or session? Because when you do your skill 66, because here's the thing: when you do a skill 66, right, and it works, that's 100% profit on the shooter.
Oh yeah. Right? No, I was talking session.
Okay. Because there's a difference there. You can do that for 4 people in a row and stop playing. You'd be at 100% for your session, right? So I mean,
no.
With the regression talk and having the balls to walk kind of a thing, you have a strategy that works for that. But again, I don't think anybody really does it. Nobody's willing to do that. But that's that's an important point.
You got to have luck, and sometimes you got to have skill.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on win goal versus Bankroll? What are you looking for percentage-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm cliche because I think I say this every daggum time I'm on like a crap chat or something like this. It depends on the situation. If I'm on a cruise, again, if I'm up $2,000 and I have $2,000 profit, and it's a 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know, however many night cruise, you're not going to stop playing. I mean, none of us are going to be on a 6-day cruise or 5-day cruise and stop playing and only play with the profits, right? You're not going to do it. So at that point in time, your profit is literally whatever you bring home at the end of the week. There was probably a point in time, and this is probably a little bit of greed, a little bit of we should had. My wife and I literally we had $400. It was like at 11:30 at night, the last night of the cruise. We probably could have went home with $450, right? But I said, you know what? Let's just go 220, 220 inside. Why not? 2 more shooters and literally like 4 more rolls. That $450 is gone, right? So we had a choice, right? We had a choice to leave with profit. Again, I was like literally a net zero for the cruise and plus minus zero. That's exactly what it was. So we had a chance to win 450. A little bit of greed gets into me, gets into a little bit of everybody, I think. But you're not just going to walk away, say I'm done with $2,000. And actually, okay, I'm very short story, right? So John, I think you remember this conversation because I know I sent you the chat, I sent you the picture where I made over $12,000 on my cruise. And what did you say? You said, "Be done at the table, don't walk away." That's literally, I remember you saying, and that was like on the second night. Stupid, right? On a 7-day cruise, you can't do it. After you win that kind of money, you cannot just stop playing, right? You feel like
I would be in the pool. My fat ass would be in the pool with a Speedo. Like, you know what? I just took $12K off this ship, and you can look at this all day long, like literally.
Yeah,
why did you put everybody with
John,
a Speedo in our head?
Indecent exposure charges in international waters.
Hey.
Wow.
I'll cover myself in hundreds.
Let's be honest. Yeah, and let's be honest. Who's going to stop playing? Other than John and a Speedo. You will stop. You will risk 6 days of not playing any more craps and write the $12,000.
Here's what I would do. I'll be honest with you. Is when I made 12 grand, I would literally pocket the 10, take 2, and I'd play around with that for the rest of the cruise. but I would dink and dunk with the 2 grand, and I would be very happy with the 10 grand win. And I honestly, if I burned the $2,000 in 2 or 3 days, I would be done because I mean, we all play enough craps and we go to the casino enough to know that if you sit there long enough, you can give it all back if you want
Oh
to.
yeah. Oh yeah.
None of us
Yeah.
want to, but it can happen. So I would literally have taken the 10 grand, put it in the safe, the $2,000 up for grabs, and we can, play around a little bit. But I would be happy with it, and I would, try my best not to play. But that 10 grand would be in the safe. Fiance DJ's not touching it. I'm not touching it, and we're bringing that home.
We all
Yeah,
know that.
it kind of, but
We all know that Mark the Point, is leans more as an aggressive player, has an aggressive style than me, or a lot of us. You've with your videos, the way that you play, it's a more aggressive style, and you have to admit that. So you have a different mindset than some of us, and that's just the way it goes. So
yeah. Yeah, and so it all, we did brought over 10,000 home. So and out of that 12, I lost about 2,000 more. However, at the end of the day, it's hard to walk away, and it all is dependent on not necessarily bankroll, but what the occasion is. If it's just one night at the casino and I made $2,000, heck, I'm going to the house, right? But if you're going to be there 4 or 5 days, it all depends on what your bankroll is and what the mindset is of what you're willing for. So
Valid. Jen, what are your thoughts on realistic win goals and bankroll?
I don't set a win goal. My goal is to win $1 billion. So I that could be part of my problem too, right? I feel like I'm a student here. Maybe with the exception of Craig, I probably like the least amount of experience of the people in this panel, and probably even in chat. So I'm still learning that maybe if I set a win goal, like today, I just feel like then I sit and then I try to eke out that last $10. How many times on Bubble Craps have I wanted to win 1,000 and been at $9.99 and I just threw away $999 of profit to win the dollar? That's happened a lot, and that's another one of my problems with is satisfaction. As Ryan's saying, is one of the nights I fought tooth and nail like a crazy banshee, and I was up $25. So with a $2,500 buy-in, I cashed out for $25 and $25, $2,525. And the dealers all like begged me to leave. Jen, you got to run now. Like that was like the worst table. Get out of here. So okay, I cashed out. I got out of there, and then as I'm walking to the casino, 1 foot out, 1 foot on banana peel, I see the electronic roulette machine, and I'm like, well, why don't I just parlay this 25 and then on the electronic roulette? I ended up losing all that. So I left 300 on electronic roulette. So I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the craps table, and I'm just gonna do a quick, win back a quick, $200 or $300 and go back to where I was. And then I lost 1,500, and I'm still mad about that. I'm still mad about how I let that devolve. It's like, you guys have all been there where you start and the table's awful and you're fighting and you're clawing and you're grinding back, and then you're even, and that's a huge win. You should just go. And that's going to be one of my learning lessons in the future. When I get to even after being so far down, I'm going to leave, and I'm not going to be like, oh, don't tempt fate. Tomorrow's another day. So it was very valuable this cruise. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and I write these things down. I need to start keeping a journal. Like people are like, oh, not DJen, CG David's like, people don't write these things down. I write everything down in terms of numbers. I don't write how I feel, what I did wrong. And I think I'm going to start keeping a journal, a craps journal, where I can not just beat myself up, but to actually like absorb and understand, like, I'm not going to do these things again. Like, don't let it bite you like multiple times. So no win goal. Sorry, I probably should have one.
Sounds like you need a psychiatrist for craps, Jen. Maybe they can help. I don't know. If you need somebody to talk to, I mean, you can call me. I'll give you my hourly rate. I'll bill you. We'll be good. It's all above board, of course.
I'm gonna call Jimmy.
Craig, what are your thoughts?
Here's the call,
let's see.
Jimmy.
Crickets. Anyway, Craig, what's your thoughts on the win goal versus bankroll?
I'm not quite qualified for the question, but I'll answer it. Um, I'm a believer of the 20%. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with the 20%. Of course, like Dylan, who wouldn't want to go into the casino thinking, and maybe you should think that way, just to make yourself positive that, hey, if I'm going in with 500, I want to come home with 1,000 total, 100%. But that's not realistic. 20% is realistic. Taking 500 in and winning 100. Are you going to be satisfied with 100? Not always. But, those of us who have, like Jen said, your table starts off just abysmal and you climb back to zero, or not zero, you climb back to your buy-in. Just go. It wasn't your day. There's going to be another day where things are going to go your way. It just wasn't that day.
I hear what Wilson Phillips song. Hold on.
Hey, I got a question. Yeah, I got a question. And I actually have stated this on another time, but I know some people are stuck on the 10 shooter rule, and I'm not sure if I want to say this as a question as to the panel or not. But what's your idea on the 10 shooter rule? A lot of people say, well, you don't bring enough buy-in to the strategy you're playing, and I have a very strong opinion. If you lose $1,500 or $2,000 on the system that you're playing, it's not that you didn't bring enough. It's just the crap just didn't work for you, right? Because bringing an extra $2,000 is just going to guarantee that you may lose $2,000 more playing whatever way you're playing. So I actually despise the 10 shooter rule or 10 bankroll for 10 plays. Especially, I mean, if you have a regression built in, why do you need 10 shooters, right? But why have the idea of, hey, I have $4,000, I can go 440 across for 10 shooters and be good with it. I'm just trying to get, what's y'all's idea on the 10 shooter rule? Because I get that comment all the time. You have to have enough.
It depends on your goal, right? So here's an example, right? So Ken's playing the Headless Horseman right now on his show. That's a great cruise ship strategy, right? You can play 10 shooters of that thing and get super comps. It'll tie every single time. It's all low house edge stuff. It just ties all the time. For that, bring 10 shooters because you're trying to last forever and ever and ever, right? But I think what Tony Leo says a lot is bring the bankroll you need to win, right? So if your goal is to win X, right? How few times do you have to get a win to achieve the goal? That's my new metric. Like, I don't care if I have 10 shooters of whatever, 64 across, and I'm trying to win $500 or whatever. That's crazy. You got to win $10 a million times. Like, I think
but here's the
odds
thing.
working's out there in chat.
You're a
right?
math guy, and I appreciate you, and I love you, John.
Yep.
But the whole 10 shooters thing, like, where did that come from?
I don't know where it came from.
Did it come from?
It's a rule of thumb from some book, is what it is.
But did it come from a rule of thumb of a full table, or did it come from
I don't know.
Just a bankroll thing? Because I've been at plenty of tables where you're only one of 3 people there. So what does that mean? Are you waiting for it to go around, or is it based on 10 shooters all the way around the table?
Or is it 10 of or is it 10 Craigs? Or is it 10 of you? Is that what you're saying? Is it 10 of you
for me,
that you're talking about?
For me, I don't like the 10 shooter rule. I'd rather think of it as you got like a 5 shooter rule. Like, if it's not working out in the first 3 shooters and you're one of the shooters, it's not working out. You can't guarantee that just because it didn't work out 3 times, that the last 2 times are going to go great. Same thing with 7. Just because 10 shooters, 9 people blow it out and 1 person. What if by the time you get to that 10th shooter and the 10th shooter was the heater, and you don't have enough bankroll to even play the 10th shooter?
It's an arbitrary number that somebody picked, and it's like, let's just hang out long enough in case one of these 10 people goes off on a heater. That's all that it really is. Frankly, if you're playing for a heater all the time, and somebody asked this in the chat, one of the questions about Craps Nation used to be all about going for the hot roll. If your whole life is around chasing a hot roll, you're going to go fucking broke. It's just the way that it is, right? You cannot play that 100%. Way. You cannot play that way. Now, the hot rolls will come, and you got to be able to recognize it and lean into it as it happens, right? If you're set up for it, and as it happens, you're leaning in, and your regular way of play allows you to lean in when it happens without killing you, fine. But if you're just going to go out there and blast 10 times and hope that one of these 10 is the one, you're going to go broke. And like I said, it came from a book somewhere. It's a rule of thumb. To me, it makes sense if I'm trying to last forever and I've got some grindy ass way to play that I can put 10 times that grindy ass thing out there and last for 6 hours, right? It's like my Viagra for the craps table or whatever. Fine. On a cruise ship, I'm trying to earn a bunch of comps. Fine, right? Like the $10 horseman all day long is great, but not ever trying to make actual money. And I think that's what I think people get sucked into that. And I keep telling David to stop talking about it. Like, that's not the way to do this. Like, leverage your money to make the money you need.
It almost seems like the bankroll for 10 shooters to have 10 is for people that are just, that have no plan. Because if you have a plan,
or their plan's rigid, or the plan's super rigid, right? It's, I'm doing this 10 times.
Or the plan's a piece of shit, but if you have a plan, if you tell yourself, okay, 500 as a buy-in for this session, I'm only going to play this, this, and it might only be like 60 to 80 bucks, and then depending on what's happening, I'm going to either go for it. That's my plan. Or I'm looking for one hit and then I'm going to try to spread across and go from there. But you have to have, you've said it before and 100%. If you go to the casino with 500 and no plan, just fucking light it on fire before you go through the doors. And just go back to your car. There's no point.
I was going to say this, and Ed actually put it in chat. But before I address that comment, I got to address Nick's comment of my Chiefs jersey looks red. He can put his plumber's jersey on because the Chiefs are shit. Anyway, going to what's it called? Ed put it in there, and it's a really good point with this 10 shooter thing, right? Like, why are you betting on all the shooters? Like, if some drunk dude walks up to the table, are you going to play whatever you were playing on him?
No.
Like, honestly, though, that's my thing with the 10 shooters is like, you sit here and you're going to go, okay, well, I'm predetermined in my head. I'm going 320 across on 10 straight shooters. I got 3,200. All right, well, if it's not going well, okay, fine. Maybe you have to adjust. But, like, are you really betting on every single person that walks up to the damn table? Because if so, I think something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you if you're doing that. Because
but as a DGen, it takes extreme discipline to not play on somebody, to skip somebody. But if you've seen them roll once before, and you're like, okay, this guy doesn't. He's just going like this and seeing how high they can bounce. You're like, okay, next time he shoots, I'm just gonna stand here and watch.
Yeah,
or just if happens, like John, if something happens, lean into it slowly and go for it if it is happen to be a heater.
Yeah, I have one more thought on the 10
okay with it. Like, you have to be okay with missing out on a heater every once in a while if you actually want to play that way, though, because like if you go to the casino, I guarantee you go to the casino, you go on like a random Tuesday at 1 p.m. Like, you're not gonna find shooters good enough to make you the money that you would need to make. It's a fact and it's a reality. You have to go with people that you would know in order to do that. The 10 shooter rule to me is stupid for that reason. I know people, use it to like, I'll use it to come up with a bankroll for some strategy or something, but that's because I'm playing it on every single person. If I'm playing something in the casino, I'm not playing it on every single person. I may play a modified version of it. I may lower it down. I may wait. But if I see some guy who can barely stand at a table, I am not betting on him. I could give less of a shit if he goes on a 50 roll or good for him. I'll probably hop in and place a number or two and see what happens. But I'm not going to go 320 across on some guy who's like not able to stand up at a table. And like, if you go to the casino enough, you'll see people who can't stand at a table. So like, why are we betting on every Tom, Dick, and Harry that walks up to the table?
Yeah, so I have one last thought on it, and we kind of close out to the next spot. So after the 10th shooter, okay, so now you're at the 10th shooter. You had the right bankroll, everything was perfect, right? But now you're on the 320 bucks. Okay, are you still doing 160 across? Are you still doing whatever that number is? Because now, right, are you walking away from the table after the 10th shooter? Who does that, right?
Nobody.
I mean, that's the idea. That's the idea why I feel like the 10th shooter is kind of messed up, because nobody's walking away after 10 shooters. And if you're down, you're still playing the exact same whatever you was playing before, which is now you're budgeted for the system, if you want to call it that. that's just some thoughts I had on trying to pick everybody else's brains what they thought about it too.
John,
No,
okay,
I agree. It's a good question because, like, I mean, especially with the 10 shooters thing, like you said, how many people are walking away with 10 shooters? If you are degenerate enough to play the same strategy on 10 people, you're not walking away on shooter number 11 if you still have money in the rack. Let's be honest here. You're going to go 320 across again because why not? You still have some money in the rack. You're not going to stop after 10. And if somebody tells me that they actually stop at 10, I want to see you play.
Yeah,
and I will sit there and count you play 10 shooters and see if you walk away. And you'll probably do it because I'm standing there watching you, and I'm going to say, oh, kudos to you. But I'm going to come back when you are not knowing that I am there, and I'm going to watch you play. And if you tell me you played 10 shooters, I'm going to sit there and count. I'll be like, Jen, write in my little notes.
Remember Jeremy's old videos, shooters. Chris? Do you guys remember Color Up's old videos? When Color Up first started his channel, the videos were always 10 shooters. He would do a thing. He would take his Dice Advice series, like user submits a strategy. He'd run it for 10 shooters, and then at the end, he'd count his money. So shooter 1 won, 2 lost, whatever, right? That's how he used to do it.
And he never won.
Now, what does he do? Well, he never won. Sometimes you'd win because you have a hot roll. But what does he do now? He plays till he gets tired. Because the 10 shooter thing, it can take too long for a video, but also it's not the way to do it. And I think he's kind of through vibration kind of figured that out. You know what I mean? As he's gone through it, without realizing it, he stopped doing it because it doesn't make any sense. Now I think it's because of time is a big part of that, but that's how he used to do it. I did a video, an anti-10 shooter rule video once, where one of my first money management videos was about that. Like, you cannot run 10, shooter 1, shooter 2, shooter 3, and at the end see what you have left, because you'll always have less than what you started with, unless one of those shooters is a miracle. So anyway,
John,
it's a fact. That's a fact. Good, Don.
Do you recall Jacob wagering me this? Relate his bankroll to more of a poker, how a poker player plays their bankroll. Do you recall that?
I don't. I don't.
You don't. Okay. All right. Does anybody else here remember Jacob? Because he put instead of 10 shooters, he was saying, 100 shooters, and he like I said, he was expounding it towards more like a poker player than a quote unquote craps player. So I didn't know if anybody else recalled that.
What he's saying now is your buy-in should be like 100 or 100 times the table minimum.
That's
right?
it. That's it.
And your minimum, on his don't strategies, it's 10% of your bankroll, which feels like 10%, like 10 shooters, but it's not. He's using 10% of the bankroll as the base bet size, because that's increasing his win value. And that's the way he's looking at that. And that's how he builds his leverage up on that following shooter. So he's coming, it's not really 10, it seems like it's 10 shooters worth, but it's really not the way he's doing it. He's using 10% of the bankroll as a way to get the bet higher and bug out with that. So, but I gotta rewatch that video that you're talking about because he explains it really well.
Yeah, it's been a while, so I didn't recall it completely. So and you say things so eloquently, so that's why I wanted to punt it to you.
Speaking of eloquent, I think we have a very eloquent question up next. We're gonna get off the 10 shooter thing because I think we all gave our opinions on that. We're gonna go over to Overthinking Craps, aka Nemo. Shooter shoots a hot roll, then all of a sudden goes to the restroom, and then short rolls on their return. What would you do in this situation? Well, I can tell you, I would ask them if they wash their hands, because maybe that's impacting something. Please practice personal hygiene. But no, I mean, listen, if someone goes to the bathroom, if you're like, I don't know, if you're superstitious that they had to go to the bathroom and that's, what is causing them to shoot short rolls, I don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't do that. Now, I do have a funny story for you about that, actually. I've actually witnessed somebody go to the bathroom mid-roll. And it was in Atlantic City. John was on the table. Jen was on the table. Craig, I think you were on the table. Or you were, I don't know if you were there. I think you were there, but I could be wrong. Anyway.
According to Jeff, both of us are always there at the same time, everywhere.
Yeah. No, and it wasn't that someone pissed their pants at the table or shit themselves at the table. No, it was a chip fill came in, shooter ran to the bathroom, chip fill was still going on, came back and continued the roll after the chip fill happened. So I've seen that, but I can tell you if somebody goes to the bathroom and that's what's causing them to have short rolls, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't think that much into it because I wouldn't be sitting there deep in the fact that they went to the bathroom. So that's just me. I don't know. Jen, any thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think there was much of a question other than like, what do you do? And I think that you have to turn off your bets. I mean, you just have to. There's maybe some of us think the metaphysical things that, like, you know, Coach talks about and Dean the Machine talk about are like absolute nonsense, but it's not that. We're all in a mesmerized trance when someone is on a hot roll, and whatever it is, it's kind of like mob mentality. Our group think has like superpowers, like the dice or something, and it's just rolling well. And if you break that momentum with either a drink lady or a stupid pit boss doing some sort of random dice check or running to the bathroom or wife tapping on the shoulder, it really kind of like breaks us out of our like enthralled state. And now you should be off. And don't be off for one roll. It's not enough. They might survive one roll, but within 3 rolls, I would say 90% of the time, and it's obviously anecdotal, I could probably check my chart, it's probably a majority of the time, a 7 is coming within like a few rolls. And that happened with Adam. We were there. When he went to the bathroom, I bolted. I mean, the women's room is always like 2 miles far. I bolted to the opposite of the casino, came back, and I counted how many rolls he had after that. It was like no more than 8. I think it was 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry, I just said I counted that. I did. So I was in my finger. I knew it was soon, but I was greedy. I was trying to catch up because you guys had like flipped the 4s and 10s, and I was way behind. I only had like $200 on my floor, and I was so far behind. I just pushed for it. But I knew in my heart, I knew I needed to take it down and then take like the $800 off the table. I knew it, and then do it.
So
Yeah,
Jen,
I did pull down.
so Jen, yeah. So the question is when they do I'm kind of not to change from the restroom thing, but the idea is, you know, when they stop for a chip change or, you know, whatever it is on the table, are you turning off your bets when they do that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh yeah,
I always do.
it always happens in
How
AC.
many?
Oh yeah. It's funny. So I turn my bets off and I'll wait till a point resolution. And I've missed some good rolls because of it. I did it even did it in Vegas. And this lady, I think I want to say she had 20 rolls in between when I turned my bet off and when she finally hit her point. But I turned my bets off. I was like, I'm not turning them back on, and it's just how I do it. I don't know. But I think like the question here too is like they have a good roll, end the roll, then go to the bathroom, and then after that they're having short rolls. Not like you go to the bathroom in between your roll, like while you're still shooting. So
the question is, does the trip to the bathroom cause the short roll? Does the chip change cause the short roll? Does the drink lady cause the short roll? And the answer to that question is 1 out of every 6 times that one of those things happens, the 7 comes.
yeah.
The other 5 times it doesn't happen over the course of many, many outcomes, right? So falling prey to that, I understand it because all you remember is the times that you got whacked by that. But I don't know, man. I can't get my brain around this idea of something weird happened, so I'm going to stop betting. If you were going to stop betting, let's use Adam's role in Atlantic City as an example. When that chip change happened and he went to go pee, right? My 10 was at what, $400? My 6 and 8 were both at 300. Like we were way up there, right? And when he came back, the choice was turn off for a roll or 2, regress back to 160 across, or you know, make sure he didn't wash his hands because I don't want to rub off the superstition that he was doing, right? I let my bets ride it out, right? And I collected 3 or 4 big hits before he finally. And Jen's right. I think he 7 out like 10 or 8 rolls later, but I got 3 or 4 huge hits in the middle of that, which put me over the edge that day, right? If I had turned off or regressed because I was scared of it, I wouldn't have caught it. That day was one of the 5 out of 6 that we didn't get bit by it. You know what I'm saying? So I just. I'm too rigid on that. Maybe, like I get this weird, like I put the good vibes only thing up there. I get like vibed out sometimes, but most of the time I'm just really rigid about it. Maybe it bites me too much. I don't know. I mean, I've been bit enough times by the 1 count, and the very next roll is the 7, as I would be if I got 7 out on that first roll. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I get hammered. If I'm gonna get hammered today, I'm getting hammered on either one of those 2 rolls. It doesn't matter. Good, Ryan.
Yeah, so I had that happen. Okay, are you ready? I had probably about $600 on the table on this past cruise I was just on, and I tried the Jenny rule. I tried the Bo Parker, the Jenny rule. There was like 3 horns in a row. So there was like the aces, and there was the 11, and then there was 12, whatever it was. I said, you know what? Turn my bets off. So what did she do? She turned them off for 2 rolls, right? Right? So what I did was I turned them off for 2 rolls. I say, back on. Bam. Guess what the next thing was? I would have made probably another 300, because the money spread I had out there, I probably would have made another $350 off of what I had out there. And yeah, that didn't work out for me too well. That's their vibes. I tried to go by the vibes, and it didn't work out for me.
Yeah, the vibes. All right, let's talk about some more vibes. Leon had a good question here. What is your real life favorite strategy of the moment? So it's a 2-parter. Actually, sorry, that's the second question. We're going to go to the first question first. We're talking vibes.
Okay.
What do you do if, sorry, John, I screwed you up.
No worries.
What if someone famous walks up to the table? What are you doing? You playing the same way? You backing off? You changing things up? Craig, somebody famous walks up to the table. What are you doing?
Well, I find a lot of people famous. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about celebrity, like big celebrity, or are you talking about somebody like a medium celebrity?
Marshawn Lynch shows up or something like that.
I don't know, whoever you call
Marshawn
famous.
Lynch. I'd say, why didn't you run it in on that play?
Don't even go there, dude. Like, come on. Just
Twist that
Oh my
knife
God.
a little bit more.
No,
Dude,
I don't know.
I called in sick to work before that play even happened for the next day.
Famous people, we've heard stories all the time, even from David.
Literally.
We've heard stories about like that Bruce Willis story. Celebrities just go to blow money, to blow time, to just pass the time. So I'm probably not playing in, or I'm tiptoeing in if somebody famous walks up to the table.
Jen, what are you doing if someone famous walks up? Besides giving them your card to be their lawyer.
It's never happened, but I'll just say that I was actually a little bit starstruck when I saw John Kokos at the table, like a casino class. I was like, ooh, he's so cool. But I'm just like super calm person anyways about that. Like I don't care. I would probably play the same shitty, grindy style that I need to like get away from. So I need lessons from Brian, Hawaii Crap Shooters, Ed Roll to Win. That's all of you guys. Forget these grindy wins. Maybe just do $1,000 6 and 8 and just call it good. 1 win, get the hell out of there, and I'll tell Ryan, look, Ryan, I won $10,000 and now I'm just in my bikini and John's hanging out with his Speedo and we're just relaxing with old fashioned. So yeah, no, who cares? Who cares? People who are famous are like nobody, just like us. We're all a bunch of nobodies trying to get through life. We're all worth the same. So,
Excuse me,
you know,
I'm
like,
somebody.
don't get weirded out by anybody. Yeah, don't be impressed by them. They poop just like you. Don't worry about it.
Hopefully not mid-roll. Anyway, Dylan, you ever played with anybody famous or been at the table with somebody famous when they walk up?
No. Here in St. Louis, no. I wish, but no. I like Jen. You know, it's not going to impress me. You know, not really. I'm not. It's not going to change me. I'm going to do whatever I want to do when I feel like it. So that's their being famous is not going to influence me one way or the other. Not at all.
Ryan, ever play with anybody famous?
No, I about guarantee if somebody's famous come up to the table, they're not going to go to my $15 table I'm sitting at. They got their own private table, and I'm probably watching it from the background. I don't know. I mean, I guess I do get a little starstruck. I guess you know I like seeing high people, important people. I think it's kind of cool because they're always in the limelight, right? I mean, they're in the limelight. So it's kind of cool if you do run across somebody or something like that to watch them what they're doing. I think it'd be kind of cool. Like, okay, for instance, was it Eli Manning went down to Tampa when they first opened up the craps, or Tampa, yeah, Tampa, when they first opened up the craps tables in Florida. Just seeing the pictures of on whatever it was, seeing the pictures, that'd be kind of a cool experience, right? Even though he probably wasn't at the table with anybody else, just seeing him playing craps, he's relatable. That's kind of cool, I guess. But I wouldn't play no different. I wouldn't think.
Don, you ever play with anybody famous?
All the time. When I was younger in Atlantic City, we played with famous people all the time, and I get super weirded out and starstruck. I get my hands sweat. I'm just all about like watching them be them. Because Jen's right, they all do the same thing, but there's people, right? But to me, it's like when I met Tom Cruise, for example, if I played with Tom Cruise once in Atlantic City, he's like 5'1", but for one thing, which is weird, right? So watching him in person, just weird. Like I'm getting sweaty just thinking about it. Like I get really starstruck, and I would definitely go to like not playing normal. Like I always talk about like stay in your head and like not make mistakes. Famous people would make me make a mistake. I would totally go back to something stupid and simple. 100%. I told you.
Did you know he was 5'1" because you stood next to him?
Yeah, whatever. I'm finally taller than somebody. It was great. I felt awesome. Did I tell you the time that I walked in and Manute Bull's ass? Did I ever tell you that story?
Yes.
I've
heard it. But
God.
If you want to share for the audience.
No, it's fine. No, that dude's tall and skinny, and his ass is where my head is. That's how tall he is, and that's how short I am. So you can imagine that. But yeah,
I've played with a couple NFL players. And one was two were in Arizona. I played with the Harris brothers, Damian and Najee. When I was in Arizona, when I had my my really long roll, actually, my almost 2-hour roll that I had. They were both on the table for it, and they made a shit ton of money because a lot of them bet the same way. It's just like they don't know anything other than black chips all the way across, black chips on this, black chips on that, and like they don't know what they're doing, so they just press me or do this. So, and then quite a few of the Eagles players play at Valley Forge kind of regularly. So I've seen a few of them there, but I don't change what I do. I just do what I do, and like they're people. It's the same thing. It's like you just sit there. It is cool when you have a good roll and they come up to you and like they fist bump you. I just put in there to give you a chest bump. But like I've fist bumped a couple of them before, a couple of Eagles players because I had a decent roll when they were there. But I think like Jen said it right. They're people. Like you can't change how you play. I know it might be famous and you're gonna be like a little schoolgirl like Taylor Swift. Oh my God! But they're the same person. So, all right. I think Leon asked that question because somebody showed up to Circa last week. So I did see that, Leon, because I know you asked in the chat. I did see that he was there. All right, next question, also from Leon. What is your real life favorite strategy of the moment? Is it anything different that you'd play if you had a substantially bigger bankroll? So, Dylan, what's your favorite strategy right now? And would you play something different if you had a bigger bankroll?
Play something different. No. My favorite strategy right now is to go across big and then regress for after one hit. So and then do the half press thing. That's my bread and butter. That's what I like doing. And if I had a bigger bankroll, I would just scale it. So it wouldn't not be anything different.
Craig, what's your favorite strategy? Would you do something different with a bigger bankroll?
I'll be honest, doesn't matter what size bankroll I have, I'm never playing a strategy. I'm always going to play what's rolling. I'll never play a strategy.
There you go.
Sorry.
Jen, favorite strategy at the minute? You have basically whatever bankroll you want. So I don't know that question. That second half doesn't apply to you, but
I love Craig's answer. I feel like I'm that person that Mike Tyson talks about. Like I have a plan until he punches me in the mouth, the table punches me in the mouth, and I got no plan. And then it's all panic and clawing and teeth and hair pulling rifle my earrings. I have a super big bankroll. That's not a secret. I buy in for a pretty modest amount though. I'm usually buying between like 3,000 to 5,000, sometimes 2,000. And then ideally, if I didn't have to worry about telling my wife that it ended, because she always asks, how'd you do? I'm like, oh, I did okay. I was even. I was up, I was down a little. I would play the 6-8 ladder into affinity. Like if there was like a Bellagio table or Aria, I really do think that whatever I'm behind, if I lose like 500, then I go to $600 6 and 8 and just work it. And then if that loses, then I'll go to $1,200 6 and 8 and work it. That 6 and 8 is going to come eventually. So I feel like that's not quite a martingale, but that will work. And I kind of feel like I wish I had the guts to do it.
Ryan, what's your favorite strategy right now? And what would you do with a bigger bankroll?
Yeah, I've probably played the same way for the last year and a half, and I'm 270 across, which is, and usually with my first hit, I'm pressing my 6 and 8. My second hit, I'm pressing the 5 and 9, making it all black chip levels, like paying black chips. Always got my hard ways playing. And after I literally do this if after probably 5 or 6 rolls, then I kind of go into bigger blitz mode because I'm already out the hand. So then I can do like full press collect, and I've been doing a lot of that lately. So that's worked out well. But again, I know the risk. The risk is literally, like I said, 3 shooters in a row, you're screwed, right? But hopefully the 4 or 5 shooters that are able to get 4 hits before Big Red comes out, then you're out the hand for every shooter that you play with. Then you're just playing with black chips all day. Now, if I had a bigger bankroll, I've actually been playing this on my table. I don't have a big bankroll. I don't have that kind of money. But I was taking an idea, what would I do with black chips all the way across? How would I play it? So I've been playing around, just fun around with my own table of how I'd play that. And I'm still working through just some ideas, but it's something I would never do because I don't have that kind of money to play.
John, what's your favorite strategy, and what would you do with a bigger bankroll?
Well, my favorite strategy when I'm right side pressing, it's the Philly special. Like, and that's just the way that I press my bets, right? Like Craig said, play what's coming. Philly special to me catches what's coming better than anything else I do, and it's easy to remember. So that's what I do. Getting to the Philly special, I like to play that when I'm even. So getting to it is a drawdown or it's the Horseman. And I play them at a high enough level that the first win I get puts me in Philly special mode, 130 across or 250 across, and we go. And that's it.
Some of the Philly specials, probably what I would do if I had unlimited money. I would just keep.
I would start. If I had more money, I'd start that earlier. I would start it right away, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'd sit there and
instead of regressing into it.
But
that's the difference, right? When you have low bankroll, you regress into the strategy you want to play. When you have a big bankroll, you start where you want to play, and that's the difference between bankrolls, right? It's like, how do you get to play if you don't give a shit about the money so much, and you have a bigger bankroll? You can just jump in there and go whatever across and just go, or do what you're going to do. And if you want to play past line 10x odds and you have the bankroll for it, go for it. The rest of us have to win first, and then use the winnings to do that. So we're always behind by a segment as that goes on. It's frustrating, but that's the way most of us play. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing too with like a bigger bankroll is, I mean, like there's no reason to really change what you're doing. You just change chip colors, or you change the level you're playing it at.
Agreed.
So like if you like a certain strategy, right? Like if you like, let's say, typically a small player or whatever, you want to play like, $12 6 and 8, $18 6 and 8, or whatever. Let's say you're now playing $120 6 and 8, or you're going up from there. Like you just change the level that you're playing at. You don't have to necessarily change what you're doing. You're just playing with a bigger bankroll, and you can change your bet level accordingly. So Jen, I know you got a question, so I'm gonna come to you, Jen.
Yeah, actually, it was something that Ryan said that kind of stirred a question in me. But I want to really comment about you guys and your just do it, because I think that you have a $100,000 bankroll. John proved it. Run that with your 100,000, because you said if you have the bankroll, do it. That's part of my question is, Ryan, would you do the GM spin? Is that kind of different than what you do because you go at a pretty high level. You're 270 across. That GM spin is like a power press. It's like a super power press where you're actually adding quite a lot of money to take a couple of hits. I keep trying that because I'm thinking my grinding isn't going to work. With a negative EV game, you cannot grind out a win unless you actually turn off at some point. Is the way to overcome that the super power press with like 100 shooter bankroll? Like what's your thought on that? Have you run that out?
No, but you got to think about it. Let's just say if you're going to do a full press, right? So if you take a $9 bet, and you do a full press, let's say to 180. That it's not the first hit that helps you, right? It's the second and the third hit, right? Because if you just collect the second one, then that's just like you're doing a collect. So you need it to hit a third time for it to really start taking advantage of the math when it pays out, right? 210, whatever it is. So it's not so much a power. I mean, I don't ever power press it personally. I just do full press like that because I always cover my, what would you do as a power press? I always cover that on my hard way. So I never really have loose change. But I mean, I really think that whenever you're really making money when you're doing a full press or something like that, it's the third hit that helps you, not the second.
But aren't
hit.
you really power pressing when you're hard?
I don't know if that really. I use my hard ways as a progressive tool. Like if I have 3 red chips on my 6, I use my hard way. My hard 6 is $15. You know what I mean? If it's at $100 bet, then I'm at a quarter. That way, it's feeding my hard way, right? So now when I hit a hard 6, I'm getting paid $225, right? I put $100 on a hard 6, and I'm collecting $125 out of it. So I progressively increase my hard ways every single time I increase my 6 and 8. I don't do my 4 and 10s. I actually stay away from a lot of 4 and 10s on the hard ways just because I'm more familiar just paying attention to my 6 and 8s hard ways. So, but no, I don't power press my regular bets, my place bets. Typically, if I do a full press or something like that.
That's a question for the audience too. Is have you guys tried GM spin and all of its variations? Because I've tried, and if you guys think, oh, maybe you guys just don't have the bankroll, I've tried it at the real table with the bankroll, and it is not successful. And I know that David and Dennis talk about it, and they talk about their success story with like 2 people. I just think that those are the outliers because I've actually thrown the money in there, and I'm power pressing. I'm all the way, right? The $30 6 goes all the way to 90. The $5 at 25 goes all the way to 75. And it's just not that second hit or that third hit. It's not coming. It's not freaking coming.
That happens a lot.
It does. All right. So next question from James Newberry. If the casino works on the law of large numbers, should we be coding strategies that start the betting when the variance is in your favor to return to balance? Craig, what are your thoughts on that?
That's a long question.
I can reread it for you. On the law of large numbers, should we be coding strategies that start betting when the variance is in your favor?
That's a question. I'm going to defer to John.
John,
well, this is what I always talk about. Right?
Let's go.
It's what I always talk about. It's like bet low until it happens, and then fucking put your finger down, put your hammer down, right? So it's like the 4-leg parlay is a good example on the pass line, right? Go table minimum pass line bet, or whatever your minimum is, $25, and go for 4 full presses on it, right? If you lose, you lose $25. If you win 15 units, right? So when the variant comes your way, you're in a position to really hammer it. If it's not going your way, you're losing minimum along the way versus going out there huge and getting whacked for more than you should. Now, the drawdown, of course, is the antithesis of that, right? But that's what James is saying. Should we be crafting strategies that are low, 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 bam? When the variant comes for you, lean in. And I think a lot of people, Craig, Ed, a lot of folks that we know and love, play that way. Let's go out there nice and low. Let's get a hit, and let's just lean into it when it happens versus going out there bigger than you should, right, to get the big win early and then still leaning in, right? So I think that's the genesis of his question.
Anybody on the panel have thoughts on that?
It takes too long, right? So I mean, if you start at, I mean, I'm just gonna say a modest amount. If you're starting at 96 across, you can't. And I mean, I'm not sure what people think is a lot of money, but you're not gonna make $1,000 on 96 across. It takes too many dang hits to get to, because most people are not doing full presses. Most people do a single press and then collect, or a half press and collect. So you're not hammering the casino. That's why I typically start higher, right? Because I'm ready, right? Again, on my third hit of anything on the table, I'm already collecting black chips, basically, right? And I'm risking a lot more to do it. But you can expect, and John, I think you've even said this even to another point here is whenever you regress, that even puts you even farther behind. You're getting out the hand, but then now it takes you. It literally, you could go on a four. Let's just say a four count, right? You can hit 4 numbers. You regress, great, you're out the hand, right? That's usually what it takes for most people. 4 hits to get out the hand, whatever it is. But now you need that shooter to go 15 more times before you even make $500, $400. Like, that's what people want. They want the big win, right?
Yeah,
it's like, how do I? What's the get rich?
Yeah, getting in late's hard, right? If you regress down, you've missed, and 2 or 3 rolls is a lot. If you're behind 2 or 3 rolls, yes. I think I did a win craps on this one time. It's a big deal to be 2 or 3 rolls behind the hand.
Yep.
But if you're not behind on the hands where it's good, right? You're tying on the hands where it's bad. So that person is like not getting hurt, not getting hurt, not getting hurt, not getting enough. The guy who's going all in early is getting whacked, and then hammers the casino. So if you're looking at like a graph, you're like down, way up versus staying kind of even and having smaller upswings. It's how you want that experience to be, I think, ultimately.
But Ryan, aren't you really playing the 10 shooter, quote unquote, if you're going out there 270 across each time?
Yeah, I play every. I didn't want to bring into that comment because no, I do. I play. I don't want to get into a different conversation with this comment, but yes, I think the dice will do everything on every roll. I've seen the hour-and-a-half shooters on the guy who set the dice and then shook them in the back of the wall and then threw them for an hour and a half. That's how I made $12,000.
But now you're different than others that I've seen, because you'll go 270 and then you'll get that third hit, but you'll keep it at 270 and go from there, right? You don't regress. You don't regress at all.
No, I don't know. It's at 370 at that point in time. Yeah, no, I don't.
Other people are going across at higher amounts, but then they're regressing to table minimums, or they're going to 160 across, and then they're going from there.
No, not when I'm going to play, right? If I have a $2,000 bankroll and I'm playing for a whole weekend, then yeah, I'm regressing. But if I have a $5,000 bankroll, I'm going to Biloxi. I'm there to play. I'm there to make money. I'm gonna go play, and I don't regress.
I think there can be a happy medium. We don't have to go super low and grind, and then we don't have to go do the skyscraper thing as well. I think that we can do a happy medium and then regress. We just got to find that there's a fine balance. That's what I believe. There is a happy medium in there.
Indeed.
Or we don't get hurt. We're not going to get hurt that bad. When you get that hit and you get smacked, which you can expect to get smacked, it's not going to be super devastating. Yeah, it's going to set you back and go, you're going to catch your breath, but you can handle that. And that's why, going at a medium pace, or, not going super high, your bankroll can still sustain you, and you get the best of both worlds. But there's a fine line there. You gotta figure it out.
Jen.
Yeah, and thank you guys. I feel like this conversation is so helpful to me because I'm starting to get a point where I'm going to reject the FOMO of like super press. You're way behind. You're way behind. I'll always remember Brian Hawaii Crap Shooter saying, if there's rolls less than 10, collect. Will always be superior. Well, you'll always have more money on just collect. And what Ryan said about 96 across, it's too low. You too thinned out. You can't actually make good money, right? Like one hit and you're getting $21. So what? And then you get wedged up for 100 and then you just never catch up. I found that the most success when I think about it, like in a quiet space, is take two numbers. If I go $60 on the 6 and 8, which is pretty close to the 96 across, that has been very successful. I feel like I have a much better chance of actually getting a hit, a meaningful $70 hit, and then doing something with that. So, yeah, I'm just even developing my strategy as I think, talk to you guys. And I love that, like, Holy Roller said, double tap to him is just a much better strategy than the GM spin. And it's the same principle as just get one hit. You're just looking for one press, one hit, not this mythical 5 hits when you're like ultra pressed so you can make, $100,000 and be ahead of the game forever and ever. I actually think that CEG David thinks when even his $48,000 lifetime winnings, I don't know that makes up for all the other times you're going to lose on GM spin. I think you need to win like 400,000 to get out. But anyways, thanks. I just wanted to comment on that.
All right, next question's from Duracell. What is your favorite pressing progression? Dylan, what's your favorite pressing progression?
Half press. That's what I live and die for. So it's the half press because with the School of Hard Knocks that smacked me upside the head. You have to be that teaches you to be content and prosperous no matter what. So it's a win-win mentality where you're putting more on the table as you put more into your rack as well. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I don't want to be. It keeps me from being too aggressive, and it keeps me from being too conservative as well. So it's like it puts me in this conservative, consistent win zone of contentment, and the half press has brought me a lot of peace of mind, and that's a lot. It's worth a lot because I started out being super aggressive, like all of us, and the School of Hard Knocks, and then you be reactionary, and you go, and then you become super conservative, and that gets you nowhere also. So it's the happy medium that I believe in, and it has worked for me.
Craig, what's your favorite pressing pattern?
If I'm going 36-8 on a random person, I'm immediately going to 42 on the next. If I'm the one shooting, I'm power pressing it to 90. I power pressing it to 90 and 25 on a 5 and 9, power pressing to 75. Immediately go to get to black chip. The quickest way you can get to black chip, the better.
No guarantees.
All right.
No guarantees.
There are no guarantees. There's no guarantee that a half press is going to get you what you want either.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on the person, right? Because Craig, you're going from 30 to 90 on the 6 and 8, right? You're pulling down 105 on that second hit. Whereas if you half press from 30 on, then you're at technically 42-ish. You could maybe go up a little bit more. Then you're pulling 50 off on your next hit. So I guess it's based on your taste, what you want to get out of it. Just want to give a shout out to everybody who is watching. Thank you for the questions. We have 60 people watching, or actually 63 right now.
Wow.
And there's like close to 500 chats. So shout out to all of you.
It's 82 right now, Chris.
You all.
82.
It just showed up.
82. Jeez.
Yeah.
All right. Even better. We love you.
That's a record.
Ryan,
yeah.
To 82 people, what's your favorite pressing pattern?
Gosh. Yeah, so probably for the first 2 or 3 hits I'm getting on something, I'm personally not usually power pressing, and I start at $90 typically or something like that. Or I go 6 and 8 usually at 60, right? And then whatever my first hit would go, both of those would go to 90 each. I press them in tandem, right? So I usually press my 6 and 8s together, or press my 5 and 9s together.
You want that other
But
sister to come up.
yeah, I usually want the other sister to come up. Now, once I get to black chip level, then I personally grab that and go up by 30, 30. Once it gets up to 180, I go straight to 300. So, but it's not, I mean, it depends. You have to have a heck of a shooter to do that, right? And how often we actually see that. And really, after the fourth hit on something, it's all, I mean, it really is all feeling, right? How many black chips do you want to collect? How much higher do you feel aggressive going? What am I up or am I down, right? So that's a loaded question. Am I down in my rack, right? Where I'm down, $500 and I want to put more black chips in my rack that I'm not pressing as aggressively. If I'm up $1,000, then I'm like, let's have fun, right? So that's very situational. But again, my first hit, I'm in black chips. I go to 120, I go to 180. And then down, I'll go to 300. After probably collecting once or twice between that.
Yeah, and what's your favorite pressing pattern?
I have two. I do. I used to follow Coach Dice, Coach Bo's collect the first hit and then full press the second, right? And that would be individually for each number. And I've had tremendous success with that. That makes more money than the half press at the same roll. And it loses less money than the half press. So there's a lot of data that shows that that's actually a superior method to the half press, even though you're collecting 50% every time on the half press, which is very interesting. I also really like 10 tons way, which is on a $30 6 or 8. The first hit, you go right to 60. The next hit, you're doing the takedown, right? So at 70, you go back to 30. You take the 70, and you had your original 35. So that's black chip, right? In theory, that you've racked, and then you just kind of rinse and repeat that on other shooters. I also really like Ed and Craig's way, which is start with like a dinky little $18 6 and 8. If this was bubbled at $3, and then go right to 42 on the next hit. At 42, you're collecting 50 for one. Just full collect that. And then on the next one, go to 90. Just go to 90 because it's a free $90 bet. And you've already gotten out of the hand. So I really like those. And I'm thinking I'm just going to go back into, less numbers pays more. Just go into 6 and 8 and forget about the rest.
And I just want to tag on to Jen right there because, when I say earlier, power press, I can see all people are just saying, oh, well, you're going to 90 and then it hits and, what do you do then? Well, when I do that, when I power press and it hits, I take it down to 60 and now I'm on the second level. So, 30 was the first level, 60 is the second level, 90 is the third level. So you're power pressing, going up, collecting it, but also taking that extra little 30 back. So instead of 105, you're taking 135 back to the rack. So I like a nice power press, collect, and regress all in one. I really like that. So yeah, what Jen was saying.
I think that's actually technically not a power press. I think what Craig's doing is the 30, 60, 90. That's like a 1 unit press, right?
No. I'm going from 30 to 90.
Press.
I'm going from 30 to 90.
Oh, you are.
And then collecting, but then going back down to 60, and then I'm going to go from 60 to 180.
Isn't that the double?
Okay, got it. I like that.
Isn't that the double thing? The double tap thing?
Oh, is that what double tap? I don't know what things are called.
It's
No,
similar.
it's modified.
Yeah, it's similar.
It's similar, but it's a modification of that.
It's not quite, but it's similar. Yeah. I mean, I agree. So when I play in terms of pressing, I like full press on the first hit, then I collect on the next hit, and then go from there. But it's typically a full press, collect, full press, collect. That's how I like to play. But in terms of like moves and stuff, because I think they're pressing patterns too. 4 and 10, I like the 4-10 flip. It's not easy to get, but just going from 35 to 100 is nice because it's clean. And then from there, you do what you want. The 5 and 9 is the G money. I love the G money on the 5 and 9. And then on the 6 and 8, I like the 3 hits to glory on the 6 and 8. But again, typically when I'm playing, I play those move type things when I'm usually up and trying to maximize more profit. It's for me when I'm playing normal, it's a full press collect, and then full press collect, just alternate from there.
So Chris, your 410
John,
flip, you said that idea came to you with Adam G, right? And Adam
yeah,
says all the time in comments when he's here that he'll do a modified version. So, it
oh
is
yeah,
hard to get from from that initial bet all the way to collecting that 1,000 on that flip. But doing a
yeah.
modified to where it only has to go to 500,
Hmm.
then do a half, you want to call it a half flip or just a modified flip. I think it's
Yeah,
still achievable, more so than the regular flip.
yeah. I
But
mean, there's
I do
obviously a
like
lot
that
of
from the 4 and
there's
10.
a lot of options with it. I mean, right? So 35 goes to 100, and then technically with the 410 flip at 100, you collect that one. So the reason you need 4 hits is because you're collecting at the $100 level. So you're bringing back 200 to the rack at that point. Well, I guess 195 minus the vig, if depending where you're playing, if you're up front or if you're paying it on the back end. But anyway, so you're collecting there. But like I know G has one that he does with 35 to 100 to 300, and then you're done after 3 hits. So it's like you can play it a variety of different ways. I mean, I've done it before, like go to quarter, goes to 75, you collect the next one, you're bringing 150 back, and then the next one, you can do whatever. Like you have so many options of what you want to do when you get, your different hits on whatever number it is. But a lot of them involve at least a full press in the beginning. And then a collect. That's why I like the full press, then collect because they set me up for most of those moves that I like to do anyway.
I was muted. Hey, Chris, I was gonna say one more thing too. When you're at the tables, watch what other people are doing too, because you may be seeing something that they're doing that you can pick up on that'll help you. And an example of that, I mean, this is probably one of the coolest experiences I had with playing with Gargoyle when we went to Biloxi. He and I are probably not the best influencers of each other, because I'm pretty aggressive and he was pretty aggressive as well. But we fed off of how each other was playing. And so when he
Mhm.
started, I was playing my 4 and 10, which I typically, when I play him, I press him in, press him in tandem, right? The sister. But when he was starting off, what he was doing, like you said, you go straight to 100 to 300 and you collect the 600, right? Well, he was aggressing all the way back down to, I think it was 35 or maybe 100 back when he started. Well, I started doing exactly what he was doing, and then I modified it a little bit. But watching what other people are doing, I mean, I don't want to feel like, actually, I saw a question come up earlier. What do you do when when you're are you trying to keep up with somebody else? Do you feel bad because they're at 100, they're at black chip levels or whatever, and you're not? What do you do to try to keep up with them? And I personally, I'm usually the one that's a little bit more aggressive side, but I was watching what he was doing, and it was so cool. I wanted to try it, right? And so feeding off of these other guys that's been playing, I've only been playing crap for about 15 years, so which is a lot of time for some people, but for some of these people, they've been playing for 20, 30 years, so they've learned all the different tricks. So watching what other people do at the table and how they enter, how they press, it sometimes could be interesting, and so it may be able to help improve your game by just understanding what they're doing. Just a thought there.
And just to tag on
No,
a
it's
little
true.
bit to what Ryan just said, that goes with YouTube channels too. Like, I mean, if you guys are watching me on my lives, I guarantee if somebody were to analyze it, they would be able to say, that's something Jeff does, and then that's something John does, and then that's something Chris does. You could break my videos down that way, and it's because we watch all you guys, and then we try to incorporate a little bit of, what do we like from there, what do we like from there, and then that makes us our own how we do it at the table. And I just want to take just a little time to say thank you all to all you guys, because I do pull a little bit, you know, forever. I will play my hard ways the way Ryan does. I saw it once live,
There's no
and
other
it was
way to play it.
incredible. And even on short rolls, I've seen people hit multiple hard ways. But I just love the way he's aggressive on that. And it kind of goes in without what I was talking about tonight boxes, but But yeah, that's something I picked up from you, Ryan, is just the way you play hard ways.
Yeah. And I mean, how many times you're at the casino, right? Like people don't know they're playing the skill 66, but you hear 66 inside. As soon as they get a hit on the inside number, you see the dollar coming out and go press up my insides by 1. Now they may not regress, but that's what they're doing. Or maybe they will regress. And it's like that's what they did. And they're like, oh, you're playing skill 66. What the hell is that? Well, that's what you're doing, but they don't know. So it's like watching what other people do at the table is definitely good too, because you can pick up on what they're doing. Maybe it'll help you maybe learn some new pressing pattern, or maybe learn how to take advantage of a longer roll from what you may not be comfortable with. Because I know for a lot of people, right? Once you get on, everybody's looking for that monster roll. If you ask somebody how they're going to play that monster roll in the moment, not saying if I give you a 50 roller, how you playing the 50 roller? Oh, press. Bullshit. No, you're not. But if you're in the middle of that 50 roller, well, what are you going to go do next? Well, then some people, because they're not used to playing at higher levels, or they're not comfortable with having money on the table, they don't really know what they're going to do, or they don't know what their next move is. So then sometimes they try to learn from other people at the table, and they'll be like, "Oh, like how'd you do that?" And like I know when I was in Atlantic City like 2 months ago, there's some random guy was nailing 4s and 10s. Just out of nowhere was nailing 4s and 10s. So I was late on getting onto them because I typically don't start out on the 4 and 10 on some Randies. But I went out there at 35, first hit right to 100, and the guy's looking at me like, "What are you doing? Like how is that so clean?" Because like he's sitting there and he's like, "What's the vig, blah blah blah," and I'm just like, "Go to 100," and dealer just clean move, and they're like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." So then the guy started playing it, and he was like, "I like that move." And like they learn from you. Everybody learns, right? Like all those different moves can be learned from, and you can use them, and do what you want with them. All right.
Agreed.
I think question.
Remember this. I'm going to leave you with a drop of wisdom here. Ready for this? I just thought of this.
Oh,
Knowledge.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Well, first of all, it's very cool that when Chris said, "You don't know you're playing the skill 66, but you are," I get to say, I know the guy that invented that. He's a friend of mine. I've actually shook that guy's hand and hugged him in person once. Like that's pretty cool. No, but the wisdom is this, right? You don't know that you're on a 50 roller, right? Everybody can make money on a 50 roller if they know it's coming, right? But on roll 23,
Exactly.
all you know is that it's going to be a 24 roller. Like you got to remember that, right? You cannot forget that you're one roll away from getting your ass kicked. It's about how do you get thrusted into that next level. And I think that's what we're talking about. So just remember that, right? At roll 23, it may be 50, it may be 24. Make sure you've got your money off that table before you go pedal down. Yeah, let's do the shooters tournament thing. I think it's a good call, Chris.
Ball.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, if we had a crystal ball, I mean, we'd all be millionaires, and we
Right.
don't know what we're doing, right? If you could know what roll's coming next, I mean, hell, I'll take a mortgage on the house, and we can bet whatever number you want to bet. I'll find a table that has the max that high. Anyway, so again, appreciate everybody who is still watching, of course, and for all the questions and chats. I think we got to pretty much all of them. If not, I'll go back later and we can save them for the next show. But Duracell asked a question pretty early on. Have you guys seen the George from CY video announcement for the tournament? So let's go around the panel. We can talk about the tournament a little bit, and if you're going to be in it, if you're not going to be in it. For those who haven't seen it, you can go to George's channel. I'll drop a link in the chat here in a minute once I'm done talking, and I'll put the video up for you guys can see it. But it's basically introducing the shooter tournament of the year. So if you guys haven't seen that, the International Shooters Competition, it's been going on for I think 2 years now, 3 years maybe. But basically, it's a tournament where you enter to be into it. You have 2 qualifying roles. They take the higher of the 2 roles, and that could potentially move you on to the top 32. So all you need for that is a craps table, a rig, something like a shooting station, something like that that you can put a camera on, and the judges or the host can see what you're doing. There's plenty of hosts. I know I'm one. John will be one. I know Brian is one. There's a bunch of us to allocate for different times and stuff. So we can get that all scheduled up and whatnot. But then there's also the strategist of the year competition. So again, two competitions going on simultaneously that George just kind of put out. So again, I'll put that video in chat. But John, thoughts on the tournaments? Looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the shooters tournament. I love that one because you get to really see the way that variance turns into randomness at the end. It's always fun to watch how that thing kind of turns into the perfect bell curve at the end. But I love the tournament. It's so much fun. I wish more people would do it, actually. I think we had 65 people last time. I'd love to see 100 people in that thing and just get more and more and more shooters. It's really fun. To me, like all the guys in chat, all the guys and gals in chat that we talk to all the time, in that tournament, you get to see them and see their tables and see what they're doing. Like we got to see Duracell and his brother's table last year. How cool was that? Watch that guy shoot. Like that was, to me, that was worth the price of admission. That was awesome. Now the strategist tournament, I don't know about yet. First year doing it. George has ideas on how it's going to work. I don't know if it's the best strategist or the best player award because it's not like you're putting a strategy up to play against the shooters. You're putting up a person who's going to change what they're doing mid-roll. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out. We'll see how it goes. It's the first year, so I'm going to have an open mind to it and kind of watch it play out. But that's going to be a work in progress, I think. But it'll be fun. Again, watch people, hear people on Crapsy talking about what they're doing. People you've never heard their voices, you'll hear them now. You're going to hear people from chat. JR, I'm calling you, buddy. Come on out and play it. How they play and watch them play in real life. That's going to be the best part of the whole thing. I think the rules have to be watched closely, and we're going to have to kind of be open-minded about how we move forward. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to George about how it's going to work and what his plans are for it. But I'm excited for it. I really am.
Hey, it's going to be a good time. Just to answer a couple questions that I did see popping up in chat. Dice in motion, approximately 8 feet. You have to be able to shoot from 7.5 to 8 feet. You have to be able to shoot from like stick either right or left one. So you do have to have area, but again, it can be a full-size craps table. If you don't have one of those, because I know those are kind of big and they take up a lot of space. There is you could have like a throwing station and other stuff. So there's a whole list of rules. Again, I put the video in chat. There's a link there. You can go take a look at it and give you some rules and some stuff like that. And then also we're talking about the shooter and strategist of the year, but Buckeye S is the Craps Madness tournament on. Yes, it is. I will have videos out about that later on, but that will be on as well. Anybody on the panel going to do the shooter of the year tournament or strategist of the year tournament? Anybody? I see some heads
for the
nodding.
first year, I think I want to throw my hat into the shooting tournament for the first time.
Here you go, Craig. I know Jen's going to definitely do both. Both, Jen? Both?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta figure out. I have so much junk. My craps table that I won from a CQ. It's now like basically a housing area for the cats who snooze all night. So I gotta toss them off, or I can use like Joe's ship throwing station if that's the time. The problem is that it's done through Skype, which is not super easily compatible with like my laptops and stuff. But I would love to see more random rollers, especially the math guys who poo-poo like all the influencing and the practice doesn't matter whatsoever. In the end, the dice do what they do. Fine, let's have the random rollers also participate, and then you can have the laugh last when you become like the winner of the tournament. I want to do the strategist thing too, but I think that if it's just a strict strategy thing, you don't actually need live people because it's all the same role. People are commenting, well, then Nemo just goes in and does this crazy thing. But if you're just doing best better, but if it's just strategist, like it's always skill 66, it's always 10 times 2 hit takedown. You don't need people. You could just run that and win crap. So it must be best player takes it all. It's all the same roles, and you have to be able to have audibles. I mean, even a coach with his 25 starting plays, they're going to have audibles. You can't like, handcuff people to a strategy.
Yeah, and I think also, is it the same set of roles? Like if it's you and me are both in a tournament, you get a 30 roller and I get 4 PSOs. How do you tell who's the better strategist? Right? Like it's got to be.
That's right.
We got to figure out a way to make it the same set without everybody knowing what the results are. There's got to be a way to do that, and I don't know how to do it live. There's a lot of question marks about it right now, and I want to make sure that's fair and it's open. I also just don't want to have people just going on tilt. Like just getting lucky with the, $1,000 9 one time and, random shit winning the tournament would be really bad for it. So we have to figure out a way to make it like normal. And I have no idea how to do that. Yeah.
Craig's out.
Yeah. Also, Joe just put in chat too. I think I'll be honest, I haven't watched George's video. I have it in my saved thing. That's why I haven't seen it.
Interesting. Okay.
I have to go back and watch it.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe said you can only do the shooter or the strategy, not both.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, I mean,
I will
be
only
the shooter
shoot
one, not the strategy one. Yeah. But we'll find out. And Jen, to answer your thing about Skype, John doesn't use Skype. I don't use Skype. Jeff doesn't use Skype. So we can find you a host who doesn't use Skype. I'm pretty sure Brian
people at
doesn't
Microsoft don't use Skype. Let's just call a spade a spade. Skype is bullshit. But yeah, I will only do, if that's the rules, I'll only do the shooter one. I think George's plan, by the way, is to have the top 3 shooters and the top 3 strategists on a table at Craps for the Cure, and have and give them each $1,000 and have them all the winnings go to the charity.
Be kind of cool.
That was the plan, was to have that be the thing. So that's kind of cool.
But John, you made a good where it's like a DGen's tournament, March Madness, right? Where wherever it's like the luck of the rolls. Like if you're in quadrants or you're in like different kind of sections or regions and you're not catching all the same kind of rolls, I don't know, maybe that's just how all competitions work, right? In double round robin, you're not going to all get the same whatever.
Well, I'm trying to fix that. I'm trying to fix that, Jen, for this year. DGen's got tricks up his sleeves for his tournament this year. So I'm trying to avoid the, let's say, very different roles for everybody without saying exactly what I'm going to do yet.
Huh. Okay.
I'm glad you're doing it, Chris.
Will be out about that. Don't worry.
Wait, so we just have an announcement?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, hold on. I think we just dropped news. Hold on, I'm going to put this up, Chris. So the DGen
did we
tourney?
It's not really that. It's not really that groundbreaking.
Well, no, you said last year. Last year you said to me, no, wait, you wrote me and Jen in chat last year that said, "Fuck this, I'm never doing it again," right? Because it was so hard.
I did. It was miserable.
But you had a lot of technical issues.
Well, I had a lot of technical issues, scheduling issues.
People, yeah.
Let me tell you, when you have, 37 people trying to play head on head, it takes a lot of DGen's time.
Yeah.
So, and it's not even the dealing of it, because there was a couple shooters worth that went 2 hours, because like Jen said, it was only 4 shooters. There was a 47 and a 42 back to back. And like the bets were outrageous. I needed a graphing calculator to figure out what the hell those bets paid.
Not what I played.
But yeah, there's some tweaks coming for that. So stay tuned for that. But I'm not stealing George's thunder. He has his tournaments coming up, so we're gonna be talking about those.
Well, maybe John will bring back Friday Night Fights.
We're going to.
And or something.
The problem is I'm never home anymore. Now I'm in Vegas I'm in Vegas for at least a week every month, and it covers a Friday to a Friday. I go out there on a Thursday and I come back the following Monday. So I'm out there across 2 weekends now because I'm working for David.
Are you able to use David's equipment and have some
I
of the
don't
guys
know yet.
that work there
No, he'll
help
have
you?
to start Thursday Night Fights.
I don't know if I can stream from there after hours yet. That's going to be a thing. If I can stay after hours and stream, I don't have to have the codes and stuff, right? So if I can, I will for sure.
All right. Well, just wanted to make you guys aware of the tournaments that are coming up. Again, stay tuned. There's going to be news released on all of that kind of stuff. But again, if you want to be involved in any of the tournaments, definitely, reach out to the appropriate individuals. We're going to have definitely some good tournaments coming up. Going to be a lot of live viewing pleasure for a lot of people. You get to see people shoot, people strategize, maybe people play against each other. So we're going to get to our final thoughts. But before the final thoughts, John, I want to see my friend. I want to see my friend. Where's my friend?
Oh, here he comes. Hold on.
Light, 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 yeah, light, like, not like,
There's my friend. Love seeing my friend. All right, everybody. Again, make sure you smash that like button, like our good friend just told you to do. But again, appreciate everybody with all the questions and stuff. I think we got to all of them. Again, if we didn't, we will go through the chat and make sure that we get to those questions. But every once in a while, we're just going to do a show where we just talk about what you guys want to talk about. No specific topic in mind, no specific guests or anything. Just kind of talk about what you guys want to talk about. So we love that. And if you do have any specific topics or specific guests you want to see, hop in the Craps Chat channel on Discord and let us know so we can hear you. But final thoughts, final words to close out this episode 10 of season 3. Ryan, I'm going to come to you first. Thank you for coming on and being a guest tonight. And what are your final thoughts on the show?
Oh yeah, well, thank you for letting me come on. This is fun. I always enjoy. First of all, I always enjoy talking, with the gang here. I felt like even though Chris, you and I've actually never even met each other in person, dialing the several.
I know it's crazy,
but for basically we are I feel like we're best friends, right? This whole group, so it's fun. Always fun talking with everybody here. Great questions from the team here. I enjoy this. This is fun. I love talking about craps. I love talking about this stuff, and I can't wait to meet everybody. Meet up again, either if it's not at a Brown Water or maybe it's at a at Craps for the Cure. I'm ready to play. I text John yesterday or maybe today. I said I'm ready to kind of play with everybody again. So I thank y'all for letting me come on. I really do enjoy this.
Anytime. You are more than welcome. Jen, final thoughts, final words.
Yeah, likewise, what Ryan said, it's just so much fun to talk, and I'm so grateful I've met all of you. I think John and I are the only ones who've met everybody on this panel, pretty much everybody in Craps, too, on the Craps Chat. I've already purchased my tickets for the Brownwater Biloxi Bash. Don't tell my wife. I'm going to Super Bowl Vegas and going to meet up with Uncle Hoku, hopefully. And, oh, yeah, Craps for the Cure, right? September 11 weekend. I'm working on flights for that and booking a hotel and all that. So I look forward to playing with you guys, and I'm just going to work really hard to be a way more disciplined player, because it can be no fun if you lose your butt. And most of it is your own doing. So you have to try to forgive myself, be more disciplined, and, have fun. So this was nice. Nice break.
Greg, final thoughts, final words.
First to Jen, I kept looking at your background, waiting for the sun to come up fully, but it keeps stops right there. But it was nice to see you put, with your hair down. My final thoughts are, I actually wanted to answer James Newberry's second question. Does anyone have a limit of tosses to take everything down once that number hits? I've done this before, and I do it a lot, especially when building Bankroll, is get your bets pressed up and you're pressing and collecting until the point hits. And then when the point hits, I do it as a challenge sometimes. Like every time a point is hit, I'll take everything back down to where I started. And the challenge is to get them as pressed up as you can again before the next point hits. Does it always happen? No, but I don't really have a number of tosses that I'll stop, but I will regress when a point is hit if I'm trying to build Bankroll. But anyway, that's my final thought. Thanks, James, for the question. Thanks, everybody, for the panel. Thanks, everybody in chat for all the questions tonight. That was a fun time. That was a fun time tonight.
Certainly was. John, any final thoughts, final words?
Nothing magical. Just thanks to everybody for watching, hanging out, all the great questions. It was good. Good to kind of just connect with everybody tonight. I think that was pretty cool. Just a quick reminder for me tomorrow. No shows scheduled this week. I may do one, but I'm out of town. I'm in California for the week doing some filming, so I may do some behind the scenes stuff at LinkedIn here. But yeah, I have a special video, by the way, to end the show with. You know what it's going to be, Chris.
Oh, special video. All right, I love it. Dylan, final thoughts, final words.
Well, I want to thank everybody. Ryan from Mark the Point coming in. Great having you, sir. Looking forward to meeting you someday. Also, we had a record-breaking, craps chat with attendance. That's outstanding. Thank you to everyone. We can't do this without you. We don't want to do this without you, and we want to include you. So that's why we want that's what craps chat is all about. Also, final thought is for the on-axis challenge that I threw out for the no 5 and no 9. Send the results to John. And he will compile everything, and we're just it's a friendly on-axis challenge. It's nothing to cry about or get upset about. It's nothing like that. So John and I have like a little friendly. We just want to see how this is going to resolve. So it's just. I call John the little doubting Thomas, and it's fun. So that's my final thoughts, and I hope everyone gives it a shot. And for the believers and the non-believers, with it's like a placebo effect. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt. Just try. It's not going to hurt. That's my final thought.
There you go. I love how you added the little doubting Thomas. Caught that. That was funny.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
And, also, since we're just going to continue the rip on John's show, Buckeye, John's making movies. What have I missed? Yes, John's making movies. He also mentioned him in a Speedo in the pool. And then there was also some talk about Viagra. So definitely go back and check that out and see what comes. It's whatever comes out of that bottle of Bullet bourbon over there that he's drinking. It's who knows.
There it is right there. It's the Bullet. Yeah, whatever.
Episode 10 is in the books. Again, appreciate everybody who was watching. We thank you all for all the questions. And my final thoughts, final words today are 1, that I love you all. 2, thank you for being here. And 3, go Birds.
Chris, that was not your final thought. This is your final thought.
All right. Here we go. Give us a beat. Does that sound like... That's perfect. All right, perfect beat. Here we go. We're ready, Eagle fans? You don't want to know what's on his phone. Oh, no, it's just lyrics. Oh, you got to help me. I got you. Ready?